All right, I guess let's see if there's opens from anyone in the group.
So mine is that Mike said there was a problem with Klangdorf with my patch series. I want to commit. So I was just wondering what that was.
Yeah, we're still working on the root cause for that, and I cannot reproduce it with EDK2. It's an internal CI run, and have not been able to root cause it yet. It looks like it's related to like quotes around program files still, but I know we already have that additional patch from you, and that did not resolve it. So still don't have a direction yet on a fix.
Okay, so it's not something you can give more information about publicly.
No.
Okay.
All right. Any other opens?
Let's see. I think we had the other topic around. Was it the LCOV feature not present in the, I guess the container that we use for code coverage, and then the question about what's the expectation for developers? Are they expected to install that manually? We just need to update some documentation, or should that be part of our Stewart configuration to make sure it's installed?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, my opinion on this is that these containers, for the Linux side at least, are designed to build EDK2. And our hope is that they have everything that is kind of core to EDK2 and consistent across platforms. And by platforms, I mean people building different platforms using EDK2. So I think LCOV definitely falls into that category. And so I need to follow up with someone on my team who's been helping with the container work and see why that's not in the container. I thought we had already talked about that and did that work. So I think from the container side, that's in the Linux build, that's what would make the most sense to me, is that that's included, and anyone who uses that build environment gets LCOV as part of the image.
And where were they?
And so
go ahead.
I was saying then developer that's not using that container but has just set up their own separate Linux development environment, then that just needs to be documented or point to the Docker recipe for all the dependencies.
Did you have 4 loose chickens?
Yeah, I mean,
they're just learning to go outside.
Mickey,
so
I'm gonna mute you.
They're not going all the way to the back because the goats and the turkeys are scared of them, so they're running back inside. So I need to go grab the chicken wire out of the car and at least
Chicken wire, important stuff. So yeah, I think we need to document that. We have other things like the Node.js stuff and the different pieces there that we have to document if you want to replicate the complete CI system.
And the LCOV stuff specifically is documented in the unit test framework package README. It may not be the best place, but it's in the code coverage section there. Specifically telling you to use apt-get to install LCOV.
Okay. So yeah, I think our one place where I think there's another location where we have our more general tool apt-get description, right, Michael? Like on a wiki page?
Yeah, I mean, there is the Mu instructions where we also, for people, not using the container, we do have some other apt-get stuff there. I think it probably makes sense to at least put a link to the unit test framework package section so they're aware in that area, if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, just so that because usually this is something that developers do one time, right? So okay, I'm gonna at least the very first time that if they're starting fresh from EDK2 development, they'll want to have the recipe to follow, right, to get all the tools installed,
Yep.
including the optional ones.
Yeah, I can make that update there to just point to the code coverage section of the README.
Okay. I think
So
that
then-
covers it, Sean. I think you know, good feedback to Gual on which patches we want to keep and which ones we want to abandon based upon this discussion. I think is the only other follow up.
Okay. I'll get some answers on where we are as far as updating the Docker file and getting new images out and getting, I guess, a patch to then consume those new images. And then on the Windows side, you just have to follow the README, as Michael pointed out, you know, and install your own environment there. I think the Windows experience is a little bit more bring your own, and you have to figure out your own environment. So, so hopefully that makes sense.
So talking of that, I noticed that EDK setup.bat doesn't set Python path, so it can't find the tools. So I have a patch that cleans that up and fixes that, like improves Python detection and stuff. So I'll hopefully send that out tonight.
I mean, you bring up another point is that we have about, you know, 3 or 4 different ways to build things. Everyone has there's numerous scripts checked in to set up your environment. I've tried to take, at least from when I answer questions on both the mailing list and the discussion tab, I try to point everyone to match the CI system, which, you know, I know not everyone wants to do, but that is the way that is tested reliably and regularly. And we have had talks about maybe we should deprecate, you know, the setup.batch file and the sh files because they're not thoroughly tested, and often there's been regressions found in those.
Personally, I'd say please don't, because I've had problems building using the CI setup. For example, EDK2 build tools, .py, whatever it is, the logging is insufficient. For example, if you haven't cloned the submodules, it just fails with a random, well, it just doesn't even say what error it is. It just says error failed. And then I guess you have to go look in a text file that it creates or something. And that is completely not obvious from basically every other build system I've used.
Sure. I mean, my main feedback would be, you know, we should fix that so that we have one nice, consistent way that everyone's happy with how to use. I'm guessing that the reason why the output was minimized was because it's overwhelming in the CI system, and nobody wants to look at logs that long.
I mean,
But
personally, I do, because they can have some really useful information, like deprecated usage of deprecated functions and stuff. Yeah, I would much prefer overly verbose logs than this extremely minimal logging that the Stuart tools currently use.
I mean, so again, that script is available for anyone to submit a patch to that would do that. That log file is saved on every CI build, and so it can be looked up. And if you want to dig through all the details, they're all there. It's just that little screen that you get from the CI build system that has minimal output.
Yeah, but then the build log.txt, whatever it is, that is indecipherable, because it has errors like 100 or 1,000 lines up, like in the middle. And yeah, I just find it very difficult to use. But so yeah, that's basically why I prefer the traditional build system, using the batch files, using build.py, etc. And yeah, I've heard that other people like that as well, so they have avoided using the Stuart tools.
Okay, well, Sounds good. You'll have to, look for support for those batch files from the people that are using those on a regular basis. Yep.
Yep, I've been hacking on them, so I will send some patches.
I mean, in parallel, Rebecca, these usage issues, even if it has to be with like an extra flag, like minus debug or whatever, to increase the verbosity of the Stewart setup and things like that. Getting issues entered against the Stewart tools for that when you run into those issues, I think that that may help us at least work towards some consolidation here. Having multiple ways of using everything. The only challenge with it, as like Sean was trying to highlight, is if somebody reports a bug, were they using Stewart as a way to launch the build, or were they using just the build command directly with EDK setup? Having two different modes of using our content makes it harder for us to then reproduce and resolve issues versus having a single method.
Oh, I completely understand. Personally, I would go back and kind of almost revisit Stewart tools entirely, because personally, I think several other people prefer using the traditional method because it's a lot simpler from a day-to-day usage. The Stewart tools just seem like you have to install the .NET framework and then dig through log files and stuff, and it just doesn't really fit into the workflow that we're used to, at least on Unix.
Okay. Yeah, I think just capture those usability issues, and if there were some additional behaviors of the Stewart tools that everyone could opt into that would ease that difference, that might be useful.
Sure. Yep. I'll think about that.
All right. Other topics.
But we've got limbing here, so I think covering where we are on base tools, project EDK2 base tools repository as a whole, and the set of backlog work items. And we've got Christine, I see, as well on here, and then also the status of some of the base tools patch reviews on the mailing list, just to make sure that we're going to make forward progress on all those.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. I think it'd be great to hear the base tools project.
I just had one quick open that should be much simpler than that. There was an XDR lib bug that was filed back in December about that library being deprecated in Python. Are you still planning to work on that, Mike, or would you prefer someone else to take a look at that? Here's the link to the Bugzilla in the chat.
Yeah, I apologize. I forgot about that that open issue, and that's in a script, right? In the base tool scripts directory, or is it
Yeah.
in
It's in the capsule stuff, I believe.
okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The capsule stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we had someone file an issue on our side today about it, and it reminded me that we actually had
Okay.
filed an issue in Tiano Core. I mean, there's no big rush. I just wanted to see if that was something you're still planning or to get to.
I recalled looking at it for a little bit, and I think I came to the conclusion after looking at it that depending upon that library it's like a single operation we need to do,
Mhm.
and it may be more straightforward for us to just provide our own implementation of that function instead of depending upon that XDR lib. I didn't know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I looked at it a while back, but I think it also looked pretty simple to substitute out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. If you're still able to get to it, then we'll just leave it as is for now.
Okay. Appreciate the reminder and the link.
Yep. All right. That's all. Thank you.
So Christina Lemming, you guys want to give an update on where things are?
Yes. I want to have I want to go to an update of the base tools issues. Yeah, I list some base tools issues originally in the our GitHub, and some of them are the C tools to Python works, and currently some of the works have some update, but I did not update the GitHub issue, and I will update them this week. And I can just to say what I have done now. Let me share my screen. Okay. Quick share. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes. Currently, the features I listed in the base tools issues here, the standalone FDF parser development and DEC and FDIC, these works are almost done and under testing, and I will update the repo link in the issues later. And for the C2 to Python one, the device path tool, EFI ROM, wall infer and GenCSC 32. These tools, the development work are almost done and also under testing. I will add the unit test to them and send out them later. And beyond that, the GenFV, GenFS, GenSec, and these tools are also development work are almost done and under testing. And what the most important I want to list is the VFR compiler tool. This tool's development work is done, and I and my team member designed the unit test case for it, and will finish its test in next month. And after that, I will share our progress in our meeting, and then send out the mail list. Send out the patch to the mail list. Yeah. Here are the base tools issues update. Yeah. And for the VFR compiler, I send the code the code repo link in our chat. Currently we just use that repo and use the Gen binary branch. Oh, sorry, I print wrong. Use that branch for the VFR Python VFR compiler, and it is saved in the base tools source Python folder. Yeah, I think that's all from mine.
Christina, that's for the for VFR compiler. That's I just here that you see this, you also do some unit test. So I want to confirm that the test case that need coverage that's to the I mean that's to the VFR spec. You know that's we have one public the VFR spec in the EDK2 in the EDK2 web. That's I mean that's the you have better that's the coverage all the syntax that's the defined in this spec.
Oh, okay. We are designing the unit test case currently, and after the first design done, and I will share what we considered and share in this meeting.
Okay, so you will also share the test case, right? Together
yes.
with this tool, right?
Yeah. And for our current Python one, the VFR compiler have the same function with the C version, and beyond that, it have some more middle output, just like to save all the VFR related info into a YAML format, just like this. And I will also describe all the feature details in the issue link. Yeah. And
Yeah,
also share. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. That's but but firstly, that's I think that is the basic function. That is
Yeah.
the same to currently VFR compiler, right?
Yes.
So Liming and Christine, can you give an update on not just the features, but there's like 8 pull requests and 4 bugs open on EDK2 based tools. Is there clear like ownership for getting those reviewed and feedback and eventually either closed or purged?
So much as you mean that's currently the patch that's for the base tools that's in EDK2? You mean the current patch list?
This is the EDK2 base tools repository has 8
Oh.
open pull requests. And then in the
Oh.
issues, Christine went over the new features, but there's also some additional bugs that are also opened against the EDK2 base tools repository. And this is really trying to make sure that we establish clear ownership for this. There's a pretty large team of tools maintainers, but I think we need a couple people to like we do for our maintainers list for our in the EDK2 repository. We need to have some clear leads that are leading the evaluation of PRs and feedback and working towards closure on these with the submitters of the PRs and the bugs.
Yeah, I see currently, yes, in the EDK2 base tool repos, there currently there's 8 open pull issues.
Yes.
So Mike, so you suggest that we review them, that's one by one in today?
No, it's I think that I think it was Rebecca that raised the issue, I think about 2 months ago, that we don't have clear ownership for monitoring these bugs and pull requests and interacting with the submitters and working towards getting them closed. And so,
oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Go
So yeah,
ahead, Rebecca.
sorry. I think I updated the page saying that Liming and I are responsible for doing that.
Okay. And have we made progress on these, or is this where it's kind of sat for a couple months?
No, I've been focusing on the toolchain update, so I haven't looked at the EDK2 base tools repo. I'm not seeing much in the way of actual bugs in the issues list. I see I've opened one, so I can go and address that. There's an incremental build error opened April last year by Sean. I can have a look at that. Yeah, there's one other bug and the rest are enhancements.
And I think one of them is your update to the base tool maintainers as well, which has not been merged yet.
Oh, okay. Pull requests.
Like number 93.
Right. Sorry, let's have a look. Issues 91. Hang on. I'm not seeing one.
90,
Is it
93?
Sorry, under issues?
Sorry.
PRs. Under
PRs. Okay. 93. Oh, right. Oh yes. Yeah. So can I do that? I'm not sure I can because it hasn't been reviewed. So yeah, I can add reviewers and see if I can get that pushed through.
Okay. Well, I think that's the main point of bringing this topic up here today is just make sure that those that are involved either from a maintainership or reviewer responsibility understand that they have that responsibility and that we're able to work through this backlog of issues either here in GitHub for the EDK2 PyTool on base tools repository or through Bugzilla for the ones that are against the base tools directory in EDK2. And just kind of another note, if there's any additions or removals from the team, the EDK2 tools team, you can make those requests, on the mailing list, and we'll get those taken care of.
Okay.
All right, anything more related to that topic?
Yeah, is Christine in the base tools? I presume she is. I just can't see her as a reviewer.
Recent months, I just focus on the tools function development. So I did not do more review works.
Okay.
I will focus more on the reviewing work. Yeah.
Sorry, the question is on pull
Mhm.
request 93. I'm trying to add you as a reviewer, but I can't see you in the list of people.
Oh.
What's your
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you need my GitHub name.
yes. If you could post in the chat your GitHub username, that'd be good. Thanks.
Yes. Wait a moment. That one is where. Yeah, I sent it in the chat.
Strange, it's still not showing up. That's very strange.
Is she in the org?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
You might need to check the org list, and maybe she needs to be added there.
Try it again.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay. It's not showing up. That's bizarre. Anyway, we can take this offline.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get that fixed. Whatever needs to happen there. I added her to the tools maintainers, so she should be available for.
Okay, I might need
review.
to just refresh the pull request, and it might show up then.
All right, anything else? As far as the base tools, were we still good with creating a release on every commit and not actually doing a release process, but just having every commit make that release? Or is that something that we were going to ask Lemming and Rebecca to kind of define a process?
I think that works pretty well from a Dependabot perspective, right, Michael?
Yeah. In terms of like people consuming that release.
Yeah.
Yes, that would work fine if we chose to do that. It could also find the latest commit hash if you wanted to do that as well. So you don't technically have to do a release. But I do think having the release is we found nice for people to be able to look at what's coming in a release as well. So if you're following semantic versioning, it's nice to be able to see if a patch version or a minor version or a major version is changing and see what impact you might be getting from picking up that release. And so if you're doing it on every change, if you update your version properly, you can make it easier for people to know what to roughly expect whenever they're picking that up in terms of how much it might break them, for example. I don't know if that repo is following semantic versioning or not. I haven't looked at it recently.
I don't think it is. Because I think it's just continuing to roll the version 1 number up every commit. And there's actually no release. It's releasing to PyPy, but it's not actually making GitHub based releases.
Yeah, I think that works quite well at the moment.
Okay.
So talking about releases, I noticed that Bugzilla, the list of releases, the bug affects and is fixed in, is a bit outdated. Do we need to add it to as a task to the release process to add the new release or the upcoming release to Bugzilla?
Yeah, it should probably be added to the release process because we seem to always be missing that. So, and the current releases to fix. See, that's not it.
I sent out an email earlier today. The latest one is EDK2 stable 2021-05.
Okay. So yeah, I will get that updated.
Thank you.
For this base tools project, are you going to continue to use Bugzilla, or are you going to tie it to issues?
I don't know. Liming?
I think that for currently that we use that Bugzilla that's to track the every issue here. I don't know that we have other REST system that track the problem. For EDK2, I see on that your question that is about EDK2 base tools, right? This repo.
Yeah, I mean, when we set this project, right, if you look at the contribution process, we don't mention the mailing list. The whole hope was with this project moving out of the main EDK2 repo, we could, test out the GitHub processes and try to use that. So I was curious if that was still the desire or if there was a change.
Well, it says there's 31 open issues in the repo on GitHub. Or 33.
So there's 3.
Yeah, a lot of those are enhancements, though.
Well, I mean, I'd recommend as just a general person on the internet, I'd recommend that you use GitHub. I mean, even the PyPy page for EDK2 base tools directly references the GitHub repo. It shows the number of forks, the number of open issues, and the number of open PRs. So if I were trying to file a bug against this project, I would go to the PyPy page. I would see the open issues link there, click it, and then file an issue. Anything other than that is a little confusing, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. Let's go with the full GitHub process then of issues and pull requests and all that stuff.
I also noticed Matt is still a maintainer of the project on PyPy. I think maybe Rebecca, like you, or someone else that's more active at the moment might want to take that up on there.
Let's have a look. Sorry, PyPy EDK2 base tools. Let's have a look. Oh, I see. It's got Mackerel and UEFI-bot. I'm not sure how we actually change that. Do we have a Tianacore login for PyPy?
No, I think that's actually the problem we had. So UEFI-bot is something we use. And so I can log in with that and change it to something else. So if there's someone to change it to, let me know your PyPy account.
Okay, I don't think I actually have a PyPy account, so I can go and create one.
And then Mike, it's probably something to keep in mind. Maybe the stewards want to talk about some of these like resources. I don't know what you want to do, if anything.
As far as like keeping track of the different accounts that we have.
Yeah, I mean, so for Project Mu, we have a couple service accounts that we've stood up that are, our Eufy bot is one of them.
Yep.
To kind of provide less individual ownership and more,
Yes.
organizational ownership. So I don't know what Tiano Core, if there's any facility or any ideas there.
Not sure, and I know I would ask Mickey, but I think we've lost Mickey for this meeting. But I think it is a good topic across all of our services. We've got, I think in several places we have a floating set of admins that we add and remove over time. But the idea of a centralized account would make more sense, I think, for a lot of these things. So it's a good open. I'll raise it with Mickey.
Sure.
The other topic here on base tools is the fact that we're maintaining the Python scripts in two places. And I know we have a goal to remove the Python code from the EDK2 repository. And so I think Fleming and Rebecca and Christine, that's another item that needs to be discussed about trying to figure out with the community what's the timeline that everybody could commit to using the pip installed tools, and that we could actually delete the Python code out of the EDK2 repository.
Yeah, it's a bit of a maintenance nightmare at the moment, having two places that the scripts need to be changed. So yeah, I'd be in favor of moving that forward.
Yeah, Mike, that's I think the problem here currently is we still manage as the Python script that's in the base tool script directory, right? So,
yes.
But the script that's maybe used that's in the developer process.
Well, so there's the scripts directory, so I think that one could remain. I'm more interested in the Python sources that are duplicated in the EDK2 base tools repository. So we have source C and we have source Python. It's the source Python directory.
Yeah, I understand that. This is about the source Python. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Currently, that we can use Py as the installer.
It sounds like many of those features that are to move the source C into Python are making progress now.
Yes, and that's good news as well, because if we succeed in getting to 100% of that C tools moved to Python, we can completely eliminate the C tool build step in preparation for any of our builds.
But that's not a requirement for deleting the Python code, is it?
No,
and
it's not.
Moving to pip
No.
tools. Right. Yes.
No.
Okay.
So I'd recommend restarting the discussion with the community on what date the community could accept the Python tools being removed from the base tools directory of EDK2.
Sounds good. I mean, I think the one thing I heard the last few months was the challenge of getting changes in by people that are not the tools maintainers. So I think if that process can get kind of ironed out, then I think I wouldn't have any concerns.
Sorry, can you expand on that? Do you mean like?
I think you probably saw the emails. It was like, Ard was complaining that, the PRs weren't getting closed and integrated and things like that. So I think it's fair that this project has kind of started and then stalled a couple times. And I think, as Mike brought up earlier, we have to get, some effort to merge PRs, look at issues that get opened, and kind of, drive the release process of this project consistently so that people can contribute to it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that's not specific to the pit-based tools. Yeah, I think both patches to the base tools directory in EDK2 and pull requests have probably not been merged into timely manner. But yeah, I need to do better at looking at PRs in the project.
All right, sounds good.
So does someone need to take an action to send an email to start that discussion then?
I can look to see if I already had one that I sent out. I think Matt sent one out a few years ago. I don't know if we'd want to reference that or not, but that might be something to build upon. I'm pretty sure there was an RFC.
Okay.
So I will either resend that out or at least send it to you, Rebecca, to see how you want to word the process going forward.
Okay, thank you.
And are we opposed to using semantic versioning, or what's the current rationale behind how things are versioned in the repo?
I think what's there today, again, is originally what Matt and I set up years ago was like a starter, but it does not have enough tags to do automation for release management. So, in my head, that's where we'd go, but I want to, I think Lemmy and Rebecca and Christine need to figure out what they want their process to be, but it's probably fair for you to at least highlight some things that we could help them with, or some process that we could leverage from Project New and bring over here if that was so desired.
Okay, I mean, just like as a consumer, it'd be nice to have the versioning reflect what changes are going in, I guess. Right now, it's not really clear what the version really reflects, other than the patch version seems to go up every once in a while.
Right, yeah. So at the moment, I'm getting bug fixes and minor improvements are just bumping the minor version up. And then when there's a new feature introduced, we should probably bump the major version.
Right, yeah. That's all I'd be, I guess, looking for. If you could add that, it would make it helpful, because we pick these up with Dependabot, and it makes it easier for us to consume things if we can see what the risk factor is, and
Right.
whenever they're coming in.
Yep, I agree. I'll see if I can find some time to work on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So Mike, can you say whether the Clang-Dwarf issue, sorry, I'm just going back to base tools in general, the toolchain issue that I'm working on at the moment is trying to get that toolchains update. Can you say whether it's a Clang-Dwarf issue building on Windows or Linux?
It's on Windows, and the latest log I saw, it was still complaining about, can't run program, like C:\program space. It's like it's confused about an embedded space without quotes, even though we've applied the latest patch you provided that adds quotes around obj copy.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I know that wasn't part of your change, and then I also saw that you changed from obj copy to LLVM-obj copy in the Clang-Dwarf profile for i32 and x64. And I tried an experiment backing that one out. That didn't change the behavior either. So still investigating, trying to figure out where it's getting confused, because everything looks okay in the log other than the error message that is popping out from the tool.
Okay. Is it possible to share a kind of like a snippet of the log with all any proprietary information removed?
Yep, I can try to do that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's for this page set, Rebecca, that I want to confirm that currently that your target that is for receive tag, right? For receive tag.
Sorry, this is targeting the next stable tag. Yes. This will go in before the stable tag.
Yeah, because currently that's for this stable tag, that's I mean that's the stable tag that's next month that will be soft code freeze that's in the on early or next month. So we hope that we have enough time that to fix the issues that's before that's soft freeze.
Yes, I am very aware that time is starting to run out, so I'm hoping to get all the remaining issues fixed and get that committed, so we have time to have lots of people testing it before the next stable tag gets created.
Okay.
All right. Any other topics for tonight? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.